Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Say it very calmly and quietly so as not to disrupt the dogs,
That's true.
who will in turn disrupt all of us and our lives forever.
Because they think we're talking to real people that somehow they missed. There are intruders in the house.
It's possible.
They do this when I jump on a Zoom call. Because I'm like, hey, whoever I'm talking to, and I get all loud and animated, and they're like,
Exuberance is not allowed. What is happening, everybody? It looks like, based on the comments, it looks like my clickbait may have worked. I've been working on my clickbait skills to get more people to watch our videos, and it may have worked this time.
You need to get some clickbait lessons from Casey, because we all call him the clickbait king.
Well, now we have to do one where we say we quit reselling. Tell us in the chat, guys, what some good clickbait would be for us. So our title is, did we move to the Pacific Northwest? No, we did not. No, we are not planning to.
No.
The reason I'm saying this is because Hurricane Hillary is...
Hillary, that bitch.
She is leaving her mark on Vegas. We've been getting a ton of rain. Day before yesterday, we had tons of thunderstorms, and it was pouring down rain. Yesterday was super dreary all day, and it rained a lot last night. And then now it's kind of drizzling out there. It's supposed to rain more. We're supposed to get more thunderstorms here coming up. So today's going to be rain all day. Tomorrow's supposed to be rain all day. I think Tuesday's when it's finally going to let up. And it's crazy because it's been like over 100 degrees, over 110 degrees here for a while. And all of a sudden, in a matter of like 24 hours, we dropped over 40 degrees. It's literally like 67 degrees right now outside, and super wet and super overcast.
And like 90% humidity.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in Florida. So Ryan and Allie are coming in on Wednesday morning, and they're going to be with us for 8 days. And, we're doing all kinds of local touristy stuff, not the Strip. They've been to the Strip. They've seen the Strip. We're going to do all our fun local restaurants and things and that we love to do here locally and just hang out with our buds. But I keep busting their being saying, like, you sent your Florida weather to us. What's with the flipping hurricanes? Listen, the Nevada and, the Southern California, belt, we don't get hurricanes out here, okay? Guys, I'm from the East Coast. I'm used to hurricanes.
Yeah.
We don't get them here. It's weird.
Well, it's not a hurricane by the time it gets here. It's just like a tropical storm. But it's just really, it sucks because the weather, I mean, it's been nice having like a little bit of a pause on the super hot weather. But it's going to heat up again towards the end of the week, and then it's going to be so crazy humid because there's so much moisture.
It's going to be so gross. We normally have 0 to 4% humidity here in the desert, which is fantastic. Like everybody says, oh, it's a dry heat. It's true. There's a really big difference. For those of you that have been here when it's super humid, or also when it's like 110 plus, maybe you live where it's humid, and when it gets to be 80 to 90 degrees at 90% humidity, it's unbearable. In 80 to 90 degrees here is beautiful.
Oh, so it's perfect.
There's anyway, it's gonna be gross weather this week, guys. And I shouldn't complain. We live in the desert where it is bright and sunny 345 days a year. But yeah, it's pretty gross.
I am from Oregon, so this just reminds me, like, am I in Oregon again? What's going on?
Yeah, this reminds me of New England right now too, the weather. I said, like, when we were standing outside, I'm like, it's not super hot even though it's very humid, so it kind of just feels like
it's like Oregon with
summer. And
it's Oregon with palm trees. I was born and raised in Oregon, lived in Portland for 10 years. I don't need to go back to rain. And also, it's like just before Ryan and Allie get here, and I was supposed to be doing a bunch of yard work this weekend. Not happening. I'm not going to be dragging out all the stuff just to have the rain pour down on me. So that's going to wait until like the day before they get here. But oh well. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us on this Sunday afternoon. For anyone who is new to the channel or new here today, I'm Katy. This is Vikki, aka Victoria, when she wants to be taken very, very seriously, aka my wife. We both have, I just got my hair cut. You just re-dyed your hair, so it's extra bright or dark or both. But I'm sporting it high and tight. It got a little scraggly, a little long, because our friend Ari, who does both of our hair, had gone back home to Brazil because her sister was having a baby, so she was gone for like, I don't know, a month or something like that. So my hair got a little crazy. Had some serious neck fur going on. But now I'm back in business.
Oh, Frontier Adventures says it's 108 here in Oklahoma. Ick. Ick. Does it ever really get that?
Did you see Paula's in the chat?
There, I did see Paula's in the chat.
Hey, Paula. Doo-boo-doo-boo-boo-boo-boo.
And I did see our friend Segan's in the chat. I'm a sell it. I'm a resell it. I think it's I'm a resell it is his channel, his name.
There he goes.
Yep.
Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
So Liz O'Kane, who thinks she's super cool.
She's given all kinds of clickbait titles, by the way.
I know.
Vintage is dead, sell this instead. I kind of like that one. Reseller breakup, Frontier Adventure says.
Ooh, that would be a good one. If we just put one up as Divorce on the Horizon. Oh, that would be like real good.
Well, that's Gage. I can tell by the picture. Anyway, I think that's funny.
Well, what I was going to say is... Oh, now my brain went away. Oh, Liz. So Liz, speaking of Liz, she did a reel earlier that was like her being out thrifting and being reminded of her reseller friends, and she showed, obviously a peacock for Vicky, something squirrel related for Kristen, and then she showed a t-shirt for me, but the t-shirt had this big circle over the top of it, so I couldn't see what it is. So apparently there is some t-shirt that she bought that reminded her of me. And Vicky says it just might be coming my way, and that's why I'm not allowed to see it. So it's just a huge teaser. But you know what?
I'm not going to tell.
Well, I don't want you to tell. I like surprises. Gifts are fun. Mm-hmm. Which, speaking of gifts, Britt, who also likes to pick things up when he's reminded of his friends, apparently, he always goes to the bins in the afternoon. He likes to go for the very last rotation and scoop up all the good stuff. And he came to our house recently and brought us some things that he picked up at the bins that made for us. And what did he get you?
So you can hold that up for people can see the phone.
What am I doing?
The phone light right there.
Oh.
So I have like kind of a vintagey retro thing going on in my office here. And one of the things that I have that I love is this vintage phone that was made into a light.
Yeah.
And
it needs new bulbs, but
it does need new bulbs. There's a short somewhere. Anyway, what he picked up was this little vintage Rolodex thing that goes next to your phone. It's like a gold tone Rolodex. It doesn't work right the way it's supposed to. Doesn't matter. It's not like I'm going to use the damn thing. Who knows anybody's phone number these days, right? I just thought it was cute.
Is it supposed to open to like the letter?
Yeah, so you choose the number. Like it's got a little rotary phone, and then it opens up, and it's supposed to open up on the letter. For the telephone index, it just doesn't work right. But doesn't matter. Super cute.
Ooh, look, Paula says that she just got you a Prezi an hour ago. She needs your address.
Just so shoot me a Facebook message to remind me, and I'll send you.
You're gonna let her know where we live?
Yeah, I figure she's kind of safe.
So that's what made Britt think of Vicky. That's the present he got her.
I host a meetup here at our house with the address is published publicly. I mean,
it's called comedy. Anyway, so that's what he got Vicky what made him think of her. This is what he got me because he thought I would like it. And you know what? He was super right. Check this out. It's like a bouquet of Betty's. I don't know who she is. I'm just going to say Betty because
she looks like a Betty.
But at first I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's a bunch of the same picture. But then I looked more closely. It's like, no, every single picture is slightly different.
And they turned it into like a fan of some kind.
I love
it's some woman from the 80s with her Sally Jesse Raphael big red glasses. I think it's funny.
I love it so much, and I put it up on the fridge, and then Vicky took it down off the fridge and maybe put it in my office. Vicky will not allow me to keep this on the fridge, which I think is super rude because it's pretty much the most amazing thing ever.
It's ridiculous.
Come on, it's so good.
It looks like my mom kind of from the 90s. It's really from the 80s.
It's like one of my favorite things ever. So it made me giggle, and I know... knowing Britt, he was probably by himself at the bins, looking at it, giggling out loud to himself because he has when he thinks he's done something that's really funny, he has a really funny way of giggling to himself.
It's cute. It's cute for sure.
Anyway, so I love that.
Yeah, so we love gifts. Even the sillier the better. I mean, this kind of thing makes me laugh for sure. Yeah, Paula, you are a little bit of a weirdo. That's okay.
She is. It's so
You're
true.
my kind of weirdo. We're all weirdos, right?
Yep. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into our show. Maybe this week we can actually keep it to an hour. I don't know.
We're going to try.
We break it into 3 parts, you guys. The first part, we look at our real numbers from the last week across all of our platforms, our gross sales, and then we break down most of the costs, like fees, shipping, and of course, most importantly, cost of goods. The middle part of the show, we look at our sales highlights for the week, some of the cool things we sold, maybe educational, I don't know. And then the last part of our show, in our new format, we talk about the goals that we set last week, if we actually met them, what happened. Mm-hmm. We allow you to publicly flog us and tell us how terrible we are.
When we don't make them.
Yes, and then you can follow that up with maybe some uplifting words.
Tear you down to build you back up kind of thing? Did we go to the same management school of sales in the 80s? I don't know.
Coffee store closers!
Always be closing!
And then we set our goals for the next week, some of the things that we would like to accomplish. And of course, in that last part of the show, we always ask you guys to join us in the chat, in the comments, if you're watching the show after the fact and you want to tell us about how you did last week with your goals and maybe what your goals are for the next week, for the days coming in front of us. Anyway, is there anything else that we want to talk about? Oh, another thing. Is there anybody here who's coming to the remix that hasn't gotten their ticket yet? I mean, come on, guys. What are you waiting for? What's going on? Come on. We're down to like 58 days before the remix, before the Boss Reseller remix. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, you should definitely jump onto that. We left the price of the ticket, the in-person ticket, at the same as it was last year. Also, a little announcement, we'll be putting out the full schedule, detailed schedule here in the next couple of weeks. But the meet and greet has been moved. Last year it was at the Cat's Meow. The year before that, it was at Troy's Liquor Bar at the Golden Nugget. This year, we're going to be in a really super cool club called the Fremont Country Club, which is right on Fremont. It's literally directly across the street from El Cortez. It's like a block down from the Container Park. So for those of you...
Closer to...
Yes, for those of you who have gone to the remix before, when we go do the Fremont Crawl, we start in Container Park. We literally walk right past the Fremont Country Club. It's on that same side of the street. So it's super close to everything, all walkable.
We have the entire place to ourselves. First of all, we don't have to share. I'm going to warn people right now, and we will talk about this. This is Vegas. It is Vegas bars. It is going to have Vegas pricing. The drinks are a little bit pricey. There's nothing we can do about that, unfortunately. It's going to be like that at any venue that we have. So just prepare yourself. You're in a tourist destination and the drinks are a little pricey. I wish we could do better, but it is what it is. Yeah. We are going to try to have 1 to 2 drink specials we've talked about with the owner. There'll be a shot special, and I think we'll do a domestic beer special. But that's the best that we're going to be able to do. And I just want to warn you in advance. For those of you that are drinkers, it is what it is. I know we had a few people that had a little sticker shock last year. If you've never been to Vegas and you're not someone that orders drinks in a major city or a tourist city, then you may not be used to that. It's not like your $4 beer down the street. That's all.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's one thing. That's the one little update. But Tracy, I know. Okay, so Frankie wants us to go back to the 2-hour show because he likes the part where we show the haul. Listen, we've been putting out 2 hauls a week. He just needs to go watch the pre-recorded stuff. It's just not live. And that way, we won't interrupt any of your television programming as we have in the past. Okay, Tracy? So tell Frankie.
We don't interrupt your...
whatever it was. I don't remember what it was you guys were watching before. But tell Frankie that he can watch. We do at least 2 hauls per week.
Which does the same thing.
I know it's pre-recorded, so you can't be talking to us during it. But we're able to show a lot more stuff that way. So we actually just recorded one today that will probably come out on Tuesday. So there's plenty of stuff. I don't think they're not going to be $15 drinks.
They're not $15, but they can be. Less. I mean, if you do mixed drinks and you're trying to do top shelf, you're going to pay $15 to $20. But if you do like a beer or bottle of beer, domestic beer, or, IPA or something like that, a Truly, whatever, they're not that as much as that. But it does depend on what you drink, for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. Plus, you could pregame over at the El Cortez because we were just there, and I had a delicious craft beer, and it was only $6. So there you go, and it was a nice pint of delicious craft beer. Anyway, all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into today's show. I'm going to move this over here and go ahead and show my numbers. So nothing like much has changed. I'm still kind of like just barely eking along on eBay. I mean, eBay's still my number one platform, but I would like to see my numbers be higher. But I have been very consistent, and I'm loving seeing the Poshmark sales. And now, it's like...
You're beating my butt on Poshmark big time
I don't know
lately.
what's happening with your Poshmark.
My Poshmark went and took a shit in the last...
Oh, my.
like the last
Gosh, I thought
3 or 4 weeks.
Posh was like the more upscale.
Posh had become my second favorite. It's neck and neck with Etsy as far as productivity, and I'm still doing better on Posh this year than I am on Etsy. Mm-hmm. However, I don't know what's happened. Posh just really meh.
I don't know, but I'm getting lots of activity on there. Although the app is so freaking annoying. Vicky acts like I'm crazy, but it's so. Listen, I get notifications at the top of my phone that says so and so sent you this message, and then you go. There's no section for messages. People can comment on listings. They can comment on. They can be bundles. They can comment. They can send you messages through sales. There's it's seriously, it's stupid. It's like, don't say message if it's actually a comment. And you click on the notification, doesn't take you to it, just opens up the app, and then you're like, well, I don't know what that is. So I have actually like had people like comment or message, and it's like 3 days later, I'm like, oh, I never saw that. I think it's annoying. Anyway, 17 eBay orders, 5 Etsy, 4 Poshmark, 3 between Grailed, Macari, and Depop. Although Depop's been completely dead, but I haven't listed. I'm still finishing up my Poshmark cross-posting, so I still haven't cross-posted new stuff to Depop in like a month. No private orders, so 29 total outgoing orders. eBay's $1,050.77, $394.05 for Etsy, $245 for Poshmark, and $185 between Grailed and Macari, and then nothing private. So total gross sales, $1,874.82. I will say though, not so long ago, a handful of years ago, when I was only selling on eBay, I would have the summer slowdown, and it's like I do so well the rest of the year, and then I hit those summer months, and I'd be like, selling like maybe, I remember doing like maybe 3,000 in a month, and being like, oh my god, how am I gonna like survive this summer? Mm-hmm. And so now it's like, thank God I have all these other platforms that get me through it. But all right, shipping $99.12, and then you can see the breakdown of fees there. Cost of goods pretty low. Thank you to the bins, $90. Net total sales $1,452.32, and then my gross average sale price $64.65, which is pretty good. My goal now is to hit at least $50. And then my net average sale price $50.08. So
when your gross and your net are close together, that means you've kept your costs down. And that's really what I like to look at. Like if your gross average sale price is $65, but your net is $30, you're paying too much for your product. Mm-hmm. So I like the fact that you can see the disparity is not enormous.
Alexis is with me. Navigating the Poshmark app is very convoluted. I just wait for them to tell me something sold.
I don't know. Maybe I've just been on it so long. It's second nature to me. It doesn't bother me.
I think you've just been on it so long. It's just so dumb.
Are we doing live auctions on Posh? No, we are not. I am approved to do that, but I haven't bothered to yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. The reality is that I work 50 to 60 hours a week. I do not have enough time to do any flippin' more shit.
Yeah.
Nobody can do everything well. And for me, I prefer to do what I do well and focus on the things that I do well, as opposed to trying to spread myself far too thin and doing shitty at everything. So, that's just how I do it. There's no shade against people that are doing great on Posh Lives. No shade against people that are doing great on Whatnot. We've both done Whatnot a bunch of times and tried. It's just not for us. Live selling right now is not for us. I will say I'm in a brand new live selling group, and it's being created by the same backers that created Whatnot, actually. And I'm in it now already before it becomes big. And I intend to use that because it actually syncs with your YouTube channel, your Facebook groups. You can multi-stream, which I think is something that all of the other live platforms are lacking. So,
I mean, I think, it's with reselling, there's a million platforms out there. There's a million ways that you can sell. And it's just a matter of finding the ways that work for you. I was definitely telling Vicky the other day, though, that I should have gotten on Poshmark a long time ago because I'm doing so much better on there than Depop, Grailed, and Macari combined. So, guys, I was wrong. Mm-hmm. All right, your turn, Vicky. What you got?
I won't say the name of it yet, only because, Paula, I'm not sure that it is public knowledge yet. I'm working with someone to be a part of it. So as soon as I am able to talk about it, and when I'm able to actually schedule my selling on it, I will let you all know, obviously. So I don't know if I can yet. Okay. Okay, so for my week, I had 47 eBay orders. That's almost back to where I normally am in the $50 to $60 numbered a week. 5 on Etsy. Etsy's been really quiet. Poshmark, 3 sales.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mercari, I had 5 orders, and when Mercari beats Poshmark and Etsy, that I don't know what the hell's going on. I had no private sales, but I had 60 total outgoing orders. $22.61 on eBay. I do prefer to be around the $3,000 range. I'm getting there. I'm getting closer there for the week. So $22.61 on eBay, $2.16 on Etsy. That's nothing. Poshmark, 3 sales for $56. Let's be real. Those were 3 lowball offers that I accepted on crappy things. $2.21 on Mercari for a total of 27. Let's call it $27.55. Gross for the week, not terrible. Getting on the upward swing. My shipping was pretty high at $3.39, but my cost of goods is always low. My cost of goods $113 for a total net of just under $2,000. I want to be at $2,500 net per week, $2,500 to $3,000. That's my sweet spot, and that's where I prefer to be. But we're getting closer. The hard work is starting to pay off.
Very nice. What was I going to say? I don't remember now. Never mind.
Lori, I do think you should try Poshmark. Because you sell clothing, you should try Poshmark. We'll do a private chat about it. You can call me or we'll message about it, but you really should try it. And honestly, I think you're already using List Perfectly. So if you're using a cross-posting software, whether it's List Perfectly or anything else, there's no reason to not be doing it. It's adding the secondary and the third and the fourth platforms. If you're using cross-posting software, there's no reason not to.
Well, that and using a bot, because seriously, for me, it's super easy to cross-post it because of List Perfectly, and then because I'm using a bot, which I use for Depop, Mercari, and Poshmark. In the past, I would have had no interest. Obviously, I did have no interest in being on Poshmark when the whole thing was like, you have to share, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. I don't do anything.
You still have to do that. You just have a bot that does all the shit for you.
I'm not doing it myself. So all I have to do is ship stuff out when it sells and then blindly stumble around trying to figure out where the heck I got a message from.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Okay, so that's everything for our sales. Let me go ahead and close that out. But yeah, I mean, okay, so like you were just looking at your eBay sales. You're still up like what, 50%?
60-something% over last month.
Yeah, I was up over like 60%. Now I'm up like 40%, but that's because of the way the graph shifts like as the days.
Every day.
Right. So so we're both like up. So
I'm up 70%.
Yeah, that's
I'm even going to show this so you guys can see it on the app. You can see up 70%.
Now Vicky is one of those people who has a hard time acknowledging that like something that she's doing is what's paying off, and it's not just it's because we're back to school, and it's because of all these other reasons that have nothing to do with the hard work I've done. I absolutely believe that. I mean, I think that there is some of that is just the market, but I think a lot of it is because of how we, since like the beginning of July, pre-July, really have been buckling down and using this show to like really push ourselves forward. So we hope that you guys are seeing how it's working for us. I know for me, I think I have more items listed on eBay than I ever have before.
Same.
So
by a long shot.
Yes. So I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how fourth quarter goes, even though fourth quarter hasn't really behaved normally in a few years.
Actually appreciate Alexis too, because it really was Alexis coming to visit us 100%. A couple months ago that really pushed us to talk about, we've all talked about it, right? This is nothing new. Consistently list something every day. Her thing was that she said, consistently for over a year, she has not missed a single day of doing a minimum of 12 listings. And 12 is the sweet spot for her.
Until she recently went to Hawaii. She only did 9 a day. The horror!
But, that really made a difference to me. That and she's niched down to selling only one type of thing. So, Lori, I do want to talk about real quickly. Lori said, thank you for your willingness to help. Not using List Perfectly yet, but I'm considering that too. Lori, if you're still just on eBay and you really do want to branch out to the other platforms, let me talk to you about it. But, definitely if you want to get on Posh, you want to get on Etsy and those other platforms, you should be using cross-posting. Do not be manually doing it. It's a waste of your time. One sale will pay for the cross-posting software, whichever one you choose to use per month, by expanding the platforms.
Well, I think there's even free ones out there, but
you need a bot once you get everything loaded up onto Posh. You'll need to pay for a bot too. But I promise you, and this is not me saying, I don't care which you use. Yes, we use List Perfectly. Yes, I'm willing to help you with that. I don't care what software you use. You need to be cross-posting to multiple platforms because right now the buyers are everywhere and they're all shopping on different platforms.
Yep.
Your Posh buyers are not shopping on eBay. Your Etsy buyers are not shopping on Posh. You need to cross-post your items in order to get the most eyeballs in front of it to have the better chance of selling.
Well, and especially, like, I've had so many things, like, that I've sold now already on Poshmark have been things that I've had for a couple of years. So it's like, I've had this thing for a couple of years. It's been sitting on eBay. It's been sitting on Etsy, and it hasn't sold yet. I put it on Poshmark, and all of a sudden, bam, it's sold. It's like, so for me, I'm like, okay, clearly I'm getting a different audience that I wasn't getting before. So,
Naomi, no, List Perfectly does not have any sharing bots. None of the cross-posting software does. There are several bots that are different companies. That's a separate service that you would pay for to automate your Poshmark and Depop and Mercari, but mostly Poshmark. Poshmark is the one that needs it the most.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's two different companies and two different services.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and jump into looking at our sales highlights for the week. Why don't you go ahead and start? What is this?
So when we went to visit Casey and Ryan and Allie and Callie in Florida last year, so this was April of 2022, we went to a flea market one day with Casey, and I bought a table full of antique and vintage calendars. And I think I paid $50 for 10 of them.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. So I paid $5 for all of them. I still have a couple of them left, but most of them have sold. And when I picked them up, I said, I'm going to sell these between $40 and $50 a piece. And I was correct. And this one sold. It did take a little over a year, but I mean, it weighs nothing and takes up no space. It's flat. It sold for $60.
Nice.
Plus shipping. And it's just an antique calendar.
Yeah.
So Tula asked, how is List Perfectly better than Flip? Well, I don't know Flip. List Perfectly is the first list cross-posting software and that was created, and all of the others copied over the years. I've only ever used List Perfectly, so that's all I can speak to. But it does everything, and it has, like 10 different platforms, and there's accounting options. There's all these different things that are involved in it. It's not just cross-posting software. So
yeah. Okay. First one for me. All right. Not that it's like super exciting or anything, but I've got this Eddie Bauer flannel shirt. That's kind of a cool all over print. I got this at the bin, so it's a little bit heavier. So maybe I paid like $2 for it. I took an offer for $42.50, but what was really cool about this, I don't often sell multiple items to one buyer on eBay. It just doesn't happen a whole lot for me. It happens a lot on Etsy, happens a lot on other platforms, but eBay just isn't one of those platforms. But I had this guy contact me, and he was sending me offers on this and also another T-shirt. And first he kind of went low, and I countered and stuff. And then he came back to me, and he was like, "Hey, if I give you $42.50 for each of them, can I get both of these from you?" And I said, "Absolutely." Like I said, I got this from the bin, so I paid maybe $2 for it. So I actually sold this for $42.50, but sold it along with another shirt. So that was $85. So not too bad. So I always love
considering there's not a real
deals.
Bundle.
Yeah, that's one thing. eBay needs that's probably the next thing that it needs, especially with the issues around
international and discounting, combined shipping, and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, they need to come up with a bundling system because it does make it kind of a pain.
Can you imagine the nightmare that it would be with the software?
That's true. Don't do it. Never mind. I take
Forget
it back.
it.
I take it back.
Forget it, eBay. We'll take the messages and create our own bundles for frick's sake.
Go ahead.
This is kind of similar in that outdoorsy type of thing that you are talking about. This I picked up at the bins. I haven't had it that long. A few months. I'm actually not sure if I picked this one up in Take a Shot, Colorado, or if I picked it up here at our local bins. But it's just this 90s fleece equestrian, anything that has horses on it, for frig's sake. Anything with horses, you're gonna want to pick up. The brand is irrelevant on this. The brand is not what sold it. It is what it looks for, but what it looks like. So I paid a couple of bucks for it. It's not heavyweight, and it sold for $62 plus shipping.
Yeah. Nice. All right. I don't know what is happening down there.
That's the washing machine.
Oh, I thought it was the dogs.
No.
I was hearing very strange sounds. Okay, guys.
Oh, I remember that.
Well, it was just last week.
Yeah.
So there was a kid that was looking at this in the bins, and I just barely saw like the graphic on it, and I saw him put it down. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go check that out because it had a really cool graphic. I picked it up, and it was so roached out. Look at this, worn and faded, destroyed, thrashed, holes. This thing is just holes everywhere. You can see like how there's all these holes in the back.
You can kind of see. It's tough to see. Well, now you can see it.
Yeah, there's holes. I mean, the whole huge.
You've got the air conditioning.
Hole.
Don't say armpit. Blech.
It's an armpit. It's just holes everywhere. It's not vintage. It's on this. I mean, it's like mid 2000s maybe. But this, you see this tag like probably 2007, 2008 around there. So I didn't say it was vintage or anything. When I looked it up, I found other ones. Power Trip is a band. I found other ones out there. So it's not like this is a graphic that you can't find anywhere. And so I listed it. It sold the next day, you guys. It sold for $48.99. This thing is trashed.
And it's clearly a copyright violation because we all know that Kool-Aid would not put that out. Which doesn't matter because nobody's coming after it from Kool-Aid. I'm just saying.
I mean, they don't use the Kool-Aid name or anything like that. And it's like... And the Kool-Aid man's like red. I'm just saying. Whatever. Anyway, it's just... I love selling stuff like this.
Gale? What's that?
It's the lead singer from Power Trip who's...
Oh, it's a band. Okay.
Yes.
I thought that... Never mind.
Yeah, it's a
I didn't know what the hell I was looking at.
Hardcore punk band. $48.99, you guys. And somebody else, that kid had picked this up and was probably like, oh, this is just trashed and it's not vintage. So he threw it back. Almost $50, guys. Come on. I love selling this stuff.
Okay, so this was nothing fantastic. This was just, I talk about this all the time. You always want to pick up overalls, almost always. Modern overalls, not so much. It really does depend on the brand. But vintage, 90s and earlier, the thing about them, this hybrid, which was probably sold at, I don't even know, like Target or something like that. It's not an expensive brand.
Yeah.
However, they have the straight leg. And right now, a lot of overalls in the last 5 years or so that are made for women have been the kind that have made with the skinny leg and they're stretched and they've got like the, the thrashed knees and that kind of thing. Super popular, but they're a dime a dozen and they don't retain the resale value the way the wide leg baggy overalls do. So the older the better. These are not super fantastic or very old, but I did pick these up at the bins. They did have their tags on them, so that it was dead stock from the 90s. And I've had them for 2 or 3 months or so. So they sold for $69.95 plus shipping.
Interesting. Speaking of Kool-Aid, I just saw some reel that was like this guy you take the Kool-Aid packets, because you know how they're not sweetened. You have to add the sugar. So the Kool-Aid packets, and you dump it into a jug of lemonade, and apparently it tastes really, really good. So it's like you take lemonade and then you add, like, let's say grape Kool-Aid. So you're not adding any more sugar. It's just the sweetness.
Isn't it already pure sugar? Isn't Kool-Aid already pure sugar?
Okay,
and then you add 3 cups of sugar?
No, Kool-Aid by itself is just the flavor. You have to add sugar. When you make Kool-Aid, you take like a cup of sugar, the Kool-Aid, and water.
It's not just a cup of sugar. It's like 3 cups of sugar.
Okay, but what I'm telling you, you're not listening here, woman. You take lemonade that's already sweet, so you could take like country, or you could take like what's the
country
sugar-free kind?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Anyway, thanks for helping me out on the show here.
I don't know what it's called. I don't make that kind of stuff.
Anyway, Crystal Light, you know what that is. Anyway, you could take Crystal Light lemonade.
Oh, my old people juice. That's what you call it.
Jeez, unhelpful here. Anyway, you could even take Crystal Light and then you dump a packet of the unsweetened Kool-Aid. So it's just adding the flavor and more tartness to it. And it's supposed to be really, really yummy. So I want to try that out. Jeez.
So are you doing flat lays? I don't do flat lays, but if you're doing something like overalls or pants or certain types of skirts, yeah, that's definitely going to look better than anything else. So,
yeah.
No, I never made Kool-Aid for my kids, Sandy. Too sugary.
Yeah,
I was a strict mom.
Yeah, we weren't a Kool-Aid family.
I wasn't allowed Kool-Aid when I was a kid. I wasn't allowed Kool-Aid when I was a kid either. Same reason.
Yeah, I've had it before, obviously, as a kid at other people's houses.
Yes, Archie, a couple that fights together, thrifts together.
Yeah. Okay. Next up for me is this Salty Dog Surf Shop t-shirt. I love this shirt. I got this at the bins. This is, I love the graphic on this. It's so cute. I sent out an offer for $50 and it sold. But you know, you can see it's got like a little mark on the neck. So you just should never be scared of like trying to sell something that's got blemishes. Clearly the last sale I showed you, holes everywhere, stains. It's like, it doesn't really matter for the most part. Usually if it's a cool shirt, it's a cool shirt and you can still probably sell it. But I sold this for $50. I love it. Look how cute he is, little surfing dog.
He is cute.
Very cute. But I always pick up anything.
Naomi says we're just an old married couple. I mean, well, we are old and we are married and we are a couple, even though we've only been married for 8 months now.
Well, I mean, we've been together for 6 years, so it's not like we just got married and we just met each other 6 months ago. All right. Next up, Vikki just needs to take some improv classes so she can learn the concept of yes and, because she's okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I did post this to my Instagram just because it made me giggle, and then clearly everyone told me that this purse looks like a bejeweled thong, and I probably should have put the word thong or panties in it somewhere, but
butt cheeks, gold butt cheeks.
I don't know, but now that's all I can see. However, that was not what I saw when I picked it up. I did pick this up at the bins. I paid just a couple of bucks for it. It is missing a couple of jewels, as you can see. I did talk about it. I showed the area where it's missing a couple of the jewels, but it's leather, it's vintage, it's 80s, it's kind of atrociously fun, and you can tell the difference that I took these pictures because I don't do the background remover because I don't bother. But anyway, it sold twice, not once but twice, and I'm going to tell about this. So it sold within 5 minutes of me listing it. There's no brand on it anywhere. This type of bag is nothing fancy. Like, this is pretty common for the 80s. It's trashed inside. So there's no brand anywhere unless someone knew what they were looking for. I'm not entirely sure. However, it sold for $80 plus shipping within like 2 minutes of me listing it. I hadn't even gotten the email that it was listed yet before it sold. And then they immediately requested to cancel because, guys, that's been happening a lot on eBay, right? Because then they show somebody something cheaper immediately and then they cancel the order. But whatever. So I canceled it. I waited 24 hours. I canceled it the next day, relisted it. It sold again within 5 minutes.
It's so crazy.
I don't understand.
It.
I don't get it. I mean, and I sell vintage, right? You guys know that I know my shit. I listed it for $80, expecting I'll probably sell it in the $40, $45 run. So I don't really know why it sold for so much. It looks like the brand Sharif, Sharif, or maybe 2 Fs, it's very similar to that, even though there's been no tags. And even that, it would have been a $40 to $50 purse. So I don't know what possessed someone to purchase it not once but twice within moments of it being listed. 2 different people, mind you. I don't know what the frig it is. But weird. Now it looks like a leather bejeweled thong purse. Bejeweled. And that's all I can think of.
All right. Next up, so I have this jacket. This is it was like an adult entertainment. Like, I don't remember. I've had this for a couple of years.
So it's a porn site.
It was like a porn company, I think. I don't think it was a site. This is from the 90s. But this is made especially for Dean Bowen.
Is that a porn star or director?
No, it's some dude. I don't know. Probably somebody who worked at the company. But this is what's funny about it is I had this listed on Etsy, and a year ago or so, I got an email from somebody who was supposed to be his daughter, and she was so angry. She was so mad that I dared to be selling this. And she said, I have a bunch of these and I'm going to list them. First, she tried to get me to take it down. And I'm like, no. And then she said she had a bunch of them. She was going to list them for way less than mine to just get me. And I was like, okay. And I just left it. And then this last week, it finally sold for $97.99. So, but it was very entertaining because she was real mad.
So bite me, Tony's daughter.
Well, it wasn't Tony. It was
Dean's daughter. Bite me, Dean's daughter. Whatever.
But I sold it.
Usually when people find something that, is a family name or a family thing being sold, they're like, oh my God, I need to buy this because, or how cool, where did you find this? This was my dad's or whatever. Like that kind of thing. Mad. Or if it's somebody like, oh my God, I lost this in my storage locker. Whatever.
I sold it for $100, so I was happy. I paid maybe like $10 when I got it originally.
She is still out there fuming. So this is an older one. I did sell a fur coat last week, so I figured I would show this. This is an older one that sold. In fact, this has got to be a few years old. But, you know, I stored my fur coats inside because we're really dry here. I can't store it in our garage where I store everything else because it would just dry out the pelt. But anyway, this was a bins find a few years ago. And... you know, it took a bit to sell. White rabbit jackets don't sell quite as much as they used to. They're definitely a statement piece, and they are coming back a little. But that was also tiny. Mm-hmm. So it sold for the price you see there, $84 plus shipping, and it probably cost me like $10 to ship.
Nice. All right, look what I sold, guys. Woohoo! I sold my first Oshkosh baby bagosh overalls. I did not sell them for the price you see there.
I was going to say, geez.
No, I had priced this one super high because I could not find another with this pattern anywhere on all of the interwebs.
It's cute, though.
And so I figured, what the heck, I might as well just price it high. But once it had been up for a few weeks and I was sending offers, I think I started out sending offers for like $150, and then I started sending offers for like $100, and it sold for $100. Because seriously, guys, I paid what, maybe 50 cents? This thing is so freaking light. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure...
I'll have one. I sold one of mine today. I'll be showing it next week.
This most likely went to some Asian country because it was ordered, somebody ordered it through one of those freight forwarders. It went to Portland, but then the name on it was not in English. It was like Asian characters. So it went to Portland, but I'm sure it's going like maybe to Japan or somewhere like that. But
mine actually is going to Portland as well, to an Asian last name. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's the same customer. I'll take a look in a minute.
Yeah, maybe so. Anyway, so I was very excited because this was my first first Oshkosh purchase at the bins, $100. Nice little flippity flip.
Okay, so I've been talking about Juicy Couture is back. It's it never really went away. I mean, but I wouldn't have picked this up 2 years ago. And it has staining. I bleached the crap out of it. That's one of the older Juicy tags. I bleached the crap out of it. Solid white. It doesn't even have bling on it. It doesn't even say Juicy all over it. I don't understand why.
I don't know. Maybe they like the feel of it.
But it's terry cloth. Everything terry cloth sells. Anyway, it sold for the price you see there, $101 and change plus shipping.
That's crazy.
I've had it listed probably about 6 months or so. This was also a bins find. I paid $3 or $4.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Love it. All right, next up for me. Oh, this shirt. This is one that I like. This was from like a month ago or so at the bins, and there was a bin that had like a bunch of vintage. Like some other guys had gone through and found all this vintage and like ran off. And so then I went more slowly and went through it, and I saw the single stitch hem of it sticking out, and I could tell it was that super soft cotton poly blend. And I pulled it out, and this was the shirt, and I'm like, oh, I love it. I love this graphic. I love the feel of this shirt. Come on now. Why? Otherwise, it's taking forever. There we go. Virginia City. Just a really cool.
It's very threadbare.
Yeah, it's so soft, so soft. So I was excited to grab it. I mean, it was so light. I don't know if I paid 75 cents for it, and it sold on Etsy for $62.99. Etsy definitely is like my go-to place for like kind of the quirky, interesting.
T-shirts,
uncommon T-shirt, vintage T-shirts. Like people will definitely pay
not just
up.
band tees and rap tees.
Right,
it's not
people
just
will
the cool thing.
Pay up for the kind of more obscure stuff. So I appreciate that. This is the kind of stuff that a lot of the T-shirt bros would be like, maybe it's worth $10. And I'm like, you're crazy.
This is where your knowledge and your skills pay off.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a vintage Jerry Garcia band shirt. I grabbed this at the bins as well.
I'm showing this.
I did show this in a haul video. It had some holes, as you can see. It's definitely faded, although it's gray. It's not black. But it's a little bit faded. And the way that these Jerry Garcia band tees are made, sometimes they're dated and sometimes they're not. They're not quite as easy to identify as the Grateful Dead shirts. But I was able to tell based on the construction and the way it feels and the thickness of the fabric and everything that it's vintage. When you know vintage, you know vintage. You can tell when something is older. Mm-hmm. An older construction. I've had this listed for maybe a week and a half.
It wasn't long.
And it sold for what you see there, $101. And it just has that really cool Native American, princess on the front, and that graphic was not, I could not find anywhere else.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I mean, I maybe could have listed it for more and held out for a real Deadhead fan that would have paid more, but I'm pretty happy to take something from $1 to $100 in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. All right, next for me, remember this jacket? I got this. I'm pretty sure when we were in Rhode Island, Boston area, we went to a couple of thrift stores. Who did we go with? We went with Carrie. She took us to a couple of thrift stores. Remember?
Oh, yeah. My friend Carrie.
Yep. We went to a couple of thrift stores, and if you remember, I went in, and I think it might have even been a Goodwill. I can't remember.
It was either
exactly.
Goodwill or Savers. It's the only two we went to.
And they had half off on some of the colors or whatever. And I grabbed this. I remember being really surprised because it was priced at like $9.99, and then it had the half off. So I got it for $5. And I think people just didn't realize what it was because it just says Hawaii on the front. But I know that this is University of Hawaii, and that is their old logo that got changed in the late 90s. So because I saw this logo, I knew it was vintage. And I sold it on Etsy for $89.99. Paid $5 for it. It sat around in the store forever, went to half price, and I got it and sold it for $89.99. So again, $5 in the 90. Not too shabby. So never pass up the old rainbow stuff, the old Hawaii. It's the Hawaii Warriors, but Rainbow Warriors sometimes they're called. But this is their old logo. You always want to grab stuff with that old logo on it.
Cool. Okay, so I didn't have this very long either. This was also a bins find. I did tell people to look out for this brand, Brioni. Brioni, made in Italy. It is very well made. Cashmere and high-end always go well together. This is an older one. And I bought this at the bins. I paid probably $3 to $4. It's under 2 pounds. I took an offer for $120 earlier yesterday or day before yesterday. And again, I had this listed for less than 2 weeks. From, $3 to $120. Again, this is another one. Some Brioni can sell very high. 42 is not a very big size for a men's sport coat. But why would I wait and hold out for any more? I mean, $125, I'm happy with that for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, next up, let's get into my Posh Sale. So if you guys remember last week, I had shown that New York Seltzer racing t-shirt that was like all
thrashed,
cut, and it had like they'd cut like fringe into it, and it was like ridiculous. Well, the same guy purchased this like 2 days later, and another one that's like the neck is all cut. And
so he's bought 3 things from you?
No, he's bought 2.
Oh,
that's 2, 1 and 1.
Sorry, I thought you said and another one.
No, I'm saying he bought another shirt from me. Anyway, and so this was another bins find so I paid less than $1 for it.
I am so picturing a bro on Pismo Beach with this like neon shorty shorts and his fanny pack on, rollerblades. Like this is so like, surfing, working out. It's such an 80s thing.
So he paid $55 for it, and I paid less than $1. So that was a great flip.
So I often talk about picking up modest denim skirts and dresses, and this is just an example of one of them. This is something most people would pass up. I buy them every time, and here's why. They are always going to sell. They don't sell for $1 million, but yet generally you can pick these up for $1 at a garage sale or at the bins or anything like that. Denim dresses and skirts that are long or long sleeves especially, and they're not form-fitting. They're modest. This is perfect for a school teacher. That's perfect for people that want to wear something to church. It's perfect for people that dress modestly for personal or religious reasons. This type of stuff still sells very well. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's fashionable or not. It has to do with that it's functional. Functional and modest. And those type of things sell very well because let's be honest, finding general modest clothing in today's stores is very hard. It just is. That we're all made to like show skin and low cut and high cut and half shirts and crop shirts and sheer and stretch and fitted and skin tight stuff. I mean, that's generally what's in fashion. But there are people that do prefer to dress modestly for whatever their reasons may be. Maybe it has to do with what they do for a living. It doesn't matter. They need to dress somehow. So, and yes, we live in a very predominantly Mormon area, obviously Nevada in general, and also being right close to Utah, but it's not just Mormons. There are many, many people that for religious reasons dress modestly. So it's just keep it in mind when you find this stuff and you can get it cheap enough. Keep it in mind.
Yep.
It sells.
Absolutely. All right, next up, I don't remember me picking these jackets up. I actually got 2 of them. I still have the other one. But they're just like these cool...
Because I thought it said squiggy.
cool cafe racer jackets, but they're from this fishing boat. But they have that really cool buffalo plaid lining.
And it was like husband and wife. Wasn't it like the 2 different names or something?
No, there are no names on them.
Oh, Squiggles is the boat?
Yes, that's the boat. Squiggles 2.
I'm sorry,
We don't
Squiggles
know about
1
Squiggles
must have sunk.
But I sold this for $55. So I bought this, and I think the other one was a large, so I still have the large, which is nice to sell the smaller one first. But $55, and these are like, they're maybe a little over a pound, so I probably paid around $2 for it. I was actually surprised I sold it as quickly as I did, but $55. Hello, Poshmark. Stick around.
I know, right? So I picked this up at the bins when we could buy linens. Probably maybe like a month ago. It took me a while to get it listed. I had so much interest on eBay. There are tons of them on eBay, and some people are selling them way too cheap. But I did have a bunch of interest, and I had people that wanted to purchase it for like $20, $30. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. It's not happening. But I had it listed on Mercari for maybe a couple of days. It took a while. I do have someone helping with my cross-posting. My friend Robin that generally does my cross-posting, who was in the chat earlier, has been out of commission for the past 6 weeks, and she needs to have surgery. She's going to be out for quite a while, and unfortunately, I need to keep the cross-posting going. So I have someone helping me do it temporarily until Robin is up to her old self and wants to come back. Anyway, so this just got cross-posted to Mercari, and it was listed maybe 2 or 3 days. And I had it listed for $79, but I was more than willing to take an offer for $60 on that.
Very nice. Hello, Michelle. What's happening?
Hey, Michelle. I like your profile on this one. I like your shirt. I never noticed it before. I think it was because it was too hard for me to see.
I don't know if she's always had that. I think it might be a newer
I kind of like it. I like it.
We very much like it. Sassy. Super sassy. Okay, last one for me, and then we'll get into the last part of our show. Remember earlier, I guess that wasn't earlier. I was talking about on our haul video, which hasn't come out yet, about vintage tech t-shirts. And this is a really great example of that. This is an Elephant Memory Systems t-shirt. It's an 80s t-shirt. And I love the graphic on this too, but this is
never like forgets.
Yep.
Memory Systems. That's smart.
Yep. It's super cute. I've had this for a while, so it did take a while to sell, but it's also one that I loved it so much I didn't want to let it go for too cheap, so I was okay hanging on to it for a while. But apparently, it just needed Poshmark to finally get sold, and I sold it for $75, you guys. $75 for this t-shirt, and of course I priced it up because of the fact that it's a vintage tech thing, but it's so freaking cute. And this is from Waltham, Massachusetts, so it's this kind of cool
good old Waltham
tech company. But how freaking cool is that? $75. I was very excited for that sale. So again, this is one that I've had for probably a couple of years, and it just took being on Poshmark for somebody to find it and say,
well, and that's part of it. It's like, that's what we talk about, diversifying and being on other platforms. Again, using any type of cross-posting software that works for you. Everybody's business needs are different. However, we prefer List Perfectly. We've been using them since the beginning. I've been with List Perfectly now for over 4 years. And, yes, there's codes down below. You can use my code to get 30% off your first month. But that's not why. We've been talking about them long before they had an affiliate program. Mm-hmm. And it works well for me, and I find it easy to use, and I'm using it to cross-post to 4 platforms. I was on 5. I did drop one of them. I just do really well. So it's very... I can't say enough about cross-posting in general. You're going to have different buyers on different platforms. It is no longer a one-platform world out here as a reseller. You cannot rely on just one platform. You just can't.
Well, I said earlier that I have more listings right now on eBay than I ever have before because I've been working so hard on listing more stuff to there. My sales on eBay alone do not reflect that. And so there's really, in this business, in any business really, the way the world changes and progresses, you have to be able to adapt. You have to pivot. You have to change with the changes.
You have to pivot.
Or you will be left. You will be left behind. I hear your friend's reference. Pivot!
You're ignoring my friend's reference.
I just acknowledged it. But yeah, you have to be willing to do that, or you're not going to succeed. You don't want to end up being somebody who just complains and bitches about it on the internet. It's like, you gotta, listen, we do like to complain and bitch about it on the internet, so don't get me wrong. But at the same time, we have to do things to make changes. We can't just sit and hope that it changes on its own and goes back to the way it was, because it's never going to go back to the way it was.
I know you highlighted the comment from Julie, but we didn't talk about it. So thank you for that, Julie. I'd flip that. Hi, guys. So question, I've tried multiple times to do an oxy bath every time color in the shirt. Yeah, oxy does not work on colorful items. That's first of all. It is going to bleed. Colorful items, I don't bleach or use oxy on. Oxy is for predominantly white items or gray that you're trying to lift some yellows out of. Same thing with bleach. But as far as things that bleed or may bleed color, reds or blues or greens that may bleed, you need to get color catcher sheets and just stain treat or spot treat, throw it into your regular wash. You can do a soak in the wash, but you need to use those color catcher sheets. They're super cheap. You get them at the grocery store, wherever you buy your laundry detergent. There's Shout ones, but there's also other different brands. They work fantastic. Since I've started using them, and I use them in every single wash I do of items that I grab from the bins, because it's not mine and I don't know how it's been washed before. Every single wash I throw one in, and I have yet to have any color bleed issues.
Yeah. Wow, Liz says so far this year, Poshmark's accounted for 32% of her revenue. Now she doesn't do Etsy, so or at least I don't think you do you, Liz?
I think she's got a couple things on Etsy, but she doesn't sell a lot of vintage.
Yeah, but Posh and eBay are her main ones. Naomi, I need some motivation. I hate going out. I have to get my mojo back. Hey, I hear you. I had definitely lost some of my mojo when it came to my reselling. A lot of that just had to do with sales being down and
it's very demotivating.
Not being able to source the way I used to. But now that I've fully dove into the bins again, I'm actually having fun with my reselling. The reselling part of what I do, this business, I'm really loving it and I'm really excited about it. And I wish I had more time to work on it because it's made me really happy. But speaking of, so we've just got a few minutes left, but we'll go a little bit over because we're not going to shorten this part of the show. This is as important as every other part, if not more important. Let's talk about what we did this last week as far as our goals were concerned. What did you accomplish?
So my goal was to do 150 new listings, obviously source 2 to 3 times, and for us to do our 2 lives. And of course, obviously, a million phone calls and emails and prep work for the remix. I listed 148 items. I counted right before the show.
Failure!
I probably could have listed the last 2 if I had had time, just so I could meet the goal. And I didn't really count until today. So I listed 148. So I totally failed by 2. But also I did make all of my other goals too. I mean, we went sourcing 3 times this week. I was able to get enough items ready. I actually took a bunch of photos yesterday, and I think I'm going to finish the rest of them if I have time before, I don't know, we have a Zoom call right after this, so we'll see if I have time today or not. So yeah, it's a lot. So Naomi asked, what's my secret? I do have a lister. So let me be clear. Katy does everything herself. I do have someone that does draft listings for me on clothing, which is why I source 3 times a week to keep her in items to list for me. So she does 50 to 75 items a week for me. But I do all of the cleaning and prepping and staging and processing all of those items weekly. I get her 75 items a week, and then she does the photography and the drafting and measuring. Yeah. So by what I'm saying, I'm doing those listings. She does 75, the rest I do. And then when I take those drafts, I tweak the title, I double check and make sure everything's correct because she's relatively new, and I will choose my pricing and the category and all that kind of stuff. So it takes me about 2 to 3 minutes to review each draft, but the hard part's done for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So and again, guys, please put in the chat what you were able to accomplish last week, what your goals are for this next week, or in the comments if you're watching this after the show's already over. We love to hear from you. But for me, so I set my goal for 50 every week. This last week, I actually was able to exceed that, which was great because I actually had Wednesday when I was volunteering at the law office, so I wasn't able to do anything on Wednesday. But I still managed to get 74 new listings up.
That's good.
74 new listings. That's really good for me. Because I had to photograph and measure and do all this stuff this last week. Over 100 items I did. So I'm really getting it's that's part of what I think has been helping to motivate me, is actually finding enough stuff. I was going through times where I would barely have enough stuff to list, and I didn't have the money to be like going out and doing big buys with the way I was doing it before, so I had to adjust. But anyway, 74 new listings. I probably did about a couple hundred more over to Poshmark. I think I'm down to like my last few hundred I need to do on Poshmark, so I should be able to finish that in the next couple of weeks. And like Vicky said, we did do 2 of the pre-recorded haul videos. I also did a 3rd video, which I might as well remind you guys, if you haven't seen it, I did a little short video on Thursday talking about the big sale they're having at Yesterday's Fit. So it's still going on until the end of today. And if you go to the website, which I think is just yesterdaysfits.com, but it's linked in the video that I did, they have a sales section. At the time, it had like 2,000 items. Hopefully, there's a lot less than that now. But everything is marked down 50%. It was like $5 to $20. Now it's like $2.50 to $10. So I had bought some things from there, and there's probably still some stuff available. So you should definitely go check it out. But I made that video. As far as this next week's concerned, I mean, Ryan and Allie are coming on Wednesday.
I don't know what we're going to get done.
So I'm going to stick to saying my goal is 50. I might not be able to make it, but the plan is they get here Wednesday morning. The plan is that every morning we have to ship, and I want to try and see if I can get. How about I say this? I want to try and do, instead of saying 50, I want to say I'm going to try and get 5 new listings up a day, because that really doesn't take me very long. I can do it pretty quickly. And I think I should be able to squeeze that in, but we're going to be busy. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. So
I'm going to stay, instead of 150, I'm going to say 50 personally. So 50 is okay for me. Maybe 60. And this way I can do closer to 10 a day. I know that I can get more done, obviously, in the next 2 days because they don't come till Wednesday. But I'd like to get 5 to 10 listed live every day that they're here, because that only takes me about an hour.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I have another video that we just filmed one earlier today, so that'll go up on Tuesday. We're planning on doing a little bit of thrifting and sourcing while they're here, so I should be able to still fulfill our 2 videos a week.
I don't know that I'll be able to get enough stuff this week because I won't be sourcing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. We are having our meetup on Thursday. For those of you that are local, we are doing our local meetup, and while Ryan and Allie are here, all the information is in the local group. If you're not in our local group, then please reach out to me. But you do need to live here or be able to come to our meetups.
Yeah.
It's not open for everyone. It's really just for the locals. And because we have the boss group and every other group for, everybody. I just try to keep the content for locals.
I think Alexis is trying to tell us that we show too many clothes in the halls.
It's true, but I haven't been picking up much other than clothes and shoes. I have shown some shoes, Alexis, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Naomi, we're not moving anywhere. That was my clickbait title. That was the fact that we're in Vegas and
there's a hurricane happening.
Hurricane Hillary has sent us a whole bunch of rain. It's been raining for the last 3 days. We still have another day or 2 to go of rain. So the temperature has dropped. It's dreary. It's wet. And I feel like I'm back in the Pacific Northwest where I grew up. It's ridiculous, but we're staying here in Vegas. Thanks,
we're not
Barb.
moving anywhere.
Barb says she likes the haul videos with both of us.
We're not. Are you kidding me? We just moved a little over a year ago. I'm gonna, I don't want to move ever again. I hope we don't have to move again. I can't imagine.
But yeah, anyway, guys, so that's it for us. Just keep in mind what the goals are, even if you didn't put them in the chat and you're not going to put them in the comments. Keep in mind what your goals are that you are setting for this week for yourself. It really does help. I mean, I know it helps me to think, like, it just helps to keep that, like, in the forefront of my mind. Let me push and get
those couple of extra listings done, because I said I wanted to hit this and I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, except it didn't work for you this week, unfortunately.
Shut up.
But anyway, I do think it really helps. And if you stick with it, and if you come back here and check in every week, even if you don't type it in the chat or in the comments, just having it in your mind each week, okay, I did it or I didn't do it. Okay, this is what the next week's going to be like. I'm telling you, our numbers are showing it for us. Like, we're seeing results, and it does seem to be working, and we're going to keep pushing through with this, and it's fun. Alexis says, okay, I'm listing 85 this week. All right.
Which is exactly her 12 a day.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. We really do appreciate you a lot, and we will see you very, very soon.
See you soon.
Bye.